Let's roll. For the mash, we're gonna need 2 big spuds, which we're gonna roast instead of boiling. That maintains and intensifies the potato flavor. After they come out of the oven, wrap them in foil and let them steam for 10-15 minutes. In the meantime, heat up 150 milliliters of milk, to which we can add a big knob of butter and grate some fresh nutmeg. Leave that at the back of the stove while we prep the potatoes. Take them out of the foil, peel them, and we're ready to mash. The easiest way to do it is if you have one of these potato ricers. Otherwise, just crush them any way you see fit. I'm also gonna grate a good amount of Parmesan. I'd say that's probably 1/3 of a cup. Then for no apparent reason, I thought I'd mix that in before pouring our milk and butter mixture. Season with salt and pepper to taste, and that's it. You can leave it chunkier or you can go through it with a blender and make it smoother. I'll tell you what, these are some damn good mashed potatoes. For the Gremolata, we're gonna start with a handful of parsley, which we're gonna give a fine chop. Next, we need a shallot or a small onion. Cut the end off, but leave the root on. Slice the shallot down its length and take the peel off. Then we're gonna cut halfway along the width of it and then make a few equidistant slices along the length. Keeping the root end detached is going to allow the shallot to stay together as we slice it. This way we can do a very fine dice. I chose to use a shallot for its more mellow and sweet flavor, but you feel free to use any kind of onion that you like. By the way, that felt very satisfying, so I kept the whole clip. And we're also gonna need some tomatoes. It's up to you what kind you wanna use. I have some cherry tomatoes on the vine. And you guessed it, we wanna fine dice those as well. Whichever variety of tomato you go for, just aim for about a pea-sized dice. Once all of our veggies are prepped, we can melt a tablespoon of butter into a small pan. Then add the shallot and give it not more than a minute. Then in go the tomatoes, again for not more than a minute. Season with salt. Cue the heat, stir in the parsley, and our gremolata is done. The last thing we need to take care of is the chicken. I've deboned 2 thighs, which I've made a short video on how to do. I also kept those in the fridge overnight, which is gonna dry out the skin and make it extra crispy when we cook it, as well as improve the texture of the meat. In a ripping hot pan, we're gonna lay our chicken thighs away from us. That way you're gonna hopefully not get any hot oil on your pretty hands. That's the sound that we're looking for. Season those bad boys with salt and pepper, and use more than you think you should. Once we flip those, a lot of the seasoning is gonna stay on the pan. Cook those skin side down for 6 to 8 minutes or until that skin turns lovely and golden brown. This is where keeping the thighs in the fridge overnight pays off. Once we flip them, add another knob of butter, a couple of fresh sprigs of thyme, which are gonna create mini fireworks when they hit the hot oil, and a couple of smashed cloves of garlic. Then take a spoon and baste, which is just a chefy term for spooning that hot flavorful butter on top of the chicken thighs. It's not only gonna permeate the meat with all those flavors, but make the skin even crispier. Then season the skin side and leave it to cook for another minute or so, flesh side down in that little pool of butter. I'm gonna go ahead and say this, you've probably not had chicken this good in your life. I'm gonna plate mine on top of a couple of scoops of the mashed potatoes, which I'm gonna spread into a little nest. Oh, and if you have any doubts about how crispy that skin is, nestle the chicken thighs on top. And spoon over some of that warm tomato gremolata. What can I say? You can probably already imagine what this tastes like. It's just one of the most comforting things that you can ever eat. The skin on those chicken thighs is just insanely crispy, and the meat under it is so juicy and succulent. I mean, check it out. Combine that with the creamy mashed potatoes and the fresh acidic hit from the tomato gremolata, and you've got yourself a perfect little dish. Yeah, that's just me trying to express how good this tastes. Yeah, I had to go in for another one, but really, can you blame me? Roll out!